kind of puts it in perspective down there. Good morning, everybody. We are out here at what I think is the coolest spot in Sand Hollow. The spot where we're at is on a trail called the Maze. It's on the west rim of Sand Hollow State Park. It is one of my favorite, it is probably my favorite trail in Sand Hollow. I really love it. I love the whole west rim side. You probably already can figure that out from my videos. It's super pretty to me. You can see all this and then all of this awesome red rock up in this bowl. The catch is, to get out of this bowl, there's not really any easy options, especially if you're faint-hearted about big rock climbs. Let's go check them out. The obstacles here are called You've Got to Be Nuts and You've Got to Be Totally Nuts. But if those don't look like your thing, that's okay, because there's a bypass. Now, the problem with the bypass is it also is kind of wild. This is it. This is the bypass. If you're looking at this video and going, wow, that's the bypass? Yeah, that's pretty much right. Okay, one way you can go is up this wall. That's probably not a good bet in a side-by-side, just for the simple fact of, if you got trailing arms, you're more than likely going to get hung up on here if you're in a stock machine. So the route I usually take on this bypass section, it's not as point and shoot per se. It's actually not point and shoot at all. You start here to the left and you have to basically come up here and you make a turn up above that hole. It's not hyper difficult, it's just a little intimidating. All right, now we're up to the next spot of this bypass section. It absolutely is going to hang up your trailing arms. That's just part of it. But if you come up the passenger or the driver's side, excuse me, as far as you can, I've been able to kind of avoid dragging as much as possible, but as you can see, there's a lot of dragging happening. The other thing you can do with this section is you can come up this side. You might still hang up on your trailing arms and you'll have to do a little Austin Powers maneuver right here, but you can maybe make it up a little bit easier. Someone stacked some rocks. I don't know. They don't seem like I'd drive on them, I can tell you that. The third and final part of this bypass is right here. So if you thought you were getting out of here without having a steep climb, wrong. Okay, this is probably what, like an 8-foot wall. It's not super difficult like the other side of this is, but it's kind of just one of those things, sort of like Wall of Doom, sort of like You Got to Be Nuts on the other side. You just kind of have to do it. It's actually a little more mellow to the passenger side than it is to the driver's side. You can probably see this little lip right here, but you do need to make a hard left-hand turn after you get on the top. I guess the turn isn't as hard as I thought you need to make it, but you do have to come left. Okay, let's go do that, see what it looks like. Okay, here we go. Not too bad. Go up. And then left. That's all there is to it for the bypass section of this. Let's go look at You've Got to Be Nuts. All right, now we're on to the real obstacle section of where we're at. As the name implies, you've got to be nuts. I don't know how good justice the GoPro is doing it, but this is a steep wall. You just kind of got to do it, but like for real, don't do this if you're not comfortable with it. Obviously, four-door cars, longer wheelbase does better. But the other thing is, like, I harp on it a lot, but you got to have your tire pressure down. You got to be down around probably 8-9 psi for stock, like Turbo R tires is what I'm doing. But if you got something else, like you gotta figure out what tire pressure gives you really good traction. I don't think it's quite as steep as Wall of Doom gets, but it is a climb. The other thing to keep in mind is the lighter your car is, the easier it's going to climb up this. If you're packed down with coolers and spare tires and all this other stuff, it's probably not a bad idea to have those, but anything that makes your car heavier obviously makes this more of a struggle. As you can see up at the top, it does kind of come up to the left. And actually, you can kind of see right where I came down. That's a pretty good spot, but you do have to go to the left from here, up and over. It kind of puts it in perspective down there. Oh man. All right, here we go. We're gonna go smooth all the way to the top. Third and last way up out of here, it just keeps getting progressively worse. From the bypass to you've got to be nuts to you've got to be totally nuts. Here's the thing, this is really Western. I've seen people do it in side-by-sides. A lot of the rock buggies do it, but it's a different ball game. I've never done it. I'm not going to try it right now, but you should know that it's here. There are people that have done it. I'm sure you can find some videos of people doing it, even in side-by-sides, even in two-seater side-by-sides. But in a side-by-side, you can't really start down straight. So you already start off, you have to start over here. You have to kick it up over here, and then you have to run that chute all the way up the top. And there's not really any good way of stopping. And there's this hump right here in the middle that kind of throws people off. Like I said, it's totally doable, but just not by me. That's the last of those 3 obstacles. It is a little bit more technical getting out the rest of the way, but that is the catch to getting this view, is that getting back out, you got to choose one of 3 routes, and not a single one of them is what I would consider very easy.